MCT Trails, Madison County Transit, and the Agency for Community Transit. We're all one organization. But I'll pass all of this stuff out to you guys. Here, they're kind of, they stick together, so just be forewarned. So I don't normally do the MCT Trails presentations, so bear with me, and I should do just fine. I worked there for 3 years, so I know it all. It's just I've never actually had to talk about it to a bunch of people. I usually talk about the buses and train people on how to ride those too. So this is the 20th anniversary of the MCT Trails this year. We started acquiring the 115 miles of trails we have now in 1993. And if you've ever been on a bike trail, you've also been on one of the old railroads that ran through Madison County. So I don't know if you're aware of that. We have 5 unique things about the MCT Trails that I wanted to talk to you about. The first one is the vision to preserve these railroad corridors was something that happened in the early 90s, and if we wouldn't have thought to acquire them and start to just build on them, they would have been sold off piece by piece by piece to area landowners. So getting those back would have been near impossible. We have 7 loops of varying lengths. So the MCT Trails connect. It's not just point A to point B like the Katy Trail is. The 7 loops range from 10 miles all the way to 31, I think 0.1 miles. It says it in there somewhere on one of them on the map. But that is one of the very, very unique things about our trails is that if you don't want to see the same scenery twice, you don't have to. You can find the loop that is for your comfort level. The third thing would be the MCT Trails are one of the only systems that connect bikeways and buses. We're one of the only, if not the only one in the United States that does this. Our trailheads serve as bus stops, and all of our buses have bike racks on the front, so we can hold 2 bikes completely free of charge to our passengers. The fourth thing would be MCT and the trails. We are committed to as few at-grade crossings as possible. So we have 46 bridges and 22 tunnels that we have developed over the past 20 years so that we don't have pedestrians crossing busy streets. Another thing that we do if we can't put a bridge or a tunnel in, we have speed tables. So in Edwardsville, I know of one in Edwardsville where it's quite a large build up in the road because it's hard to see pedestrians or bikers coming by. So we can't always control what other people are doing in their cars, so we try to control their speed at least. And then the fifth thing is the 115 miles of trails that we have now are paved Class 1 bike trails. That means that they are separated from the roadways and there is no harm to passengers from vehicles. So if you see the bike lanes, that is not counted in the 115 miles of trails in Madison County. Those are, they might be owned by us or partially developed by us, but those are just on-road connectors that are connecting from trail to trail that don't have the Class 1 status. As far as future plans go for the trails, a lot of people always ask us this. We are running out of land to build trails on. We own most of the railroad rights-of-way in Madison County. So we're running out. We've kind of built all of the trails we can build at this point. So the next stage is just expanding what we already have. The Glen Carbon Heritage Trail was recently acquired by us last summer. And this summer it's going to be paved with asphalt. I don't know if anyone's ever been on it before, but it was filled with holes. It wasn't paved, but there's a lot of historical significance to Glen Carbon. So we've taken that trail over. It's going to be paved with asphalt this spring, and it's going to be renamed from the Glen Carbon Heritage Trail to the MCT Ronald J. Foster Heritage Trail. Just an agreement we have with Glen Carbon because they want to keep part of that heritage with that trail.
I'm sorry, so you're going to pave that entire length from Glen Carbon out towards Marine?
Yeah,
Okay.
That might not be paved yet, but that's the section that's owned by MCT. The new section is right in the middle, so if you look at the bike trail map, it's just called the Heritage Trail on the bike trail map. It's going to then, that part is going to be repaved because it's not, right now I think it's just loose rock. And it's not good for people with bike tires, and there's a lot of holes, so people were having issues with that, running and stuff on the trail. The MCT Nickel Plate Trail, that one is completely owned by us. If you look in there on the map, It's going to be extended all the way up to Sorrento, Illinois, which is not even in Madison County. It's north of New Douglas. I don't know if you can even see that on the map. It might not extend that far at this point. But that's the next goal, is to extend the Nickel Plate Trail. Our longest trail is the Confluence Trail, which is 18.6 miles, I believe. And it is a mixture of asphalt and it's a limestone, I believe. But most of our trails are going to be asphalt limestone. None of them are gravel or anything like that. And if a city or a town owns portions of a rights of way, or there's land they want to develop bike trails on, that's something that we're always looking into, and we are more than welcome to talk about. We are all about making Madison County a bikeable community and making it a walkable community. So the more bike trails we have that connect, the better. A lot of people think, oh, well, there's no bike trails in my community, that's not fair. Well, if there's not a railroad that we don't own that right of way, well, then there's not going to be a bike trail because we can't build there. So that's kind of why we'll negotiate with cities, and we'll go into that with them. Everyone wants to know how the trails are funded. Madison County Transit gets state and federal grants for all of our trails, and there's a quarter cent tax, sales tax, in the Madison County Transit District. So if you're in the transit district, it's a sales tax, not a property tax or anything like that, but it's a quarter of a cent. So it's very, very minuscule. And part of that also goes towards transportation with the MCT, which I work for as well, with all of the transit.